What's up, everybody? So we have a panel tonight of five people. You may have some random people. Oh, here we go. We have another person just jumping in right now. So we're going to get Mr. Damien. He wants to be part of the stream. So now we got a six-person stream. All right. This is episode 2 of The Next Step. So tonight's show is specifically about dating. We're going to talk about everything about dating. We're going to talk about success. We're going to talk about our losses. We're going to talk about how we improved as men. And whatever information that we have, that we encompass, that we live by, any kind of codes, standards, any boundaries that we have, we went through we went through it all. We went through a lot of stuff, a lot of coaching. All of us went through some kind of coaching, some kind of training. And of course, we did the application, which is going up and approaching women. So now we have become a lot more aware of what works and what women truly want. So before we jump into more of today's show, Alex is actually going to be joining us in just a moment, but he is live on air, so we'll go to Alex in just a moment. But I want to have Black Hero Status. God, it's like when you're on the internet, everything's like reverse. So I want to go to Black Hero Status, which also goes by Harold is his name, and I would like him to introduce himself, tell us a little about yourself. So each person, tell us about a little bit about your past, what's going on in the present moment, and what any future aspirations or goals that you guys have. Go ahead, Harold.
All right, future aspirations first. Take over the world alongside great men. Now seriously though, my name is Harold Ledgerme. My Instagram is Black Hero Status. I actually run my own consulting firm where I do a little bit of dating, a little bit of life coaching on the side. If you guys are interested after this or whatnot, you guys could go to blackheroconsulting@gmail.com. I'll be fielding all your questions and your concerns there, and then we can go from there. Um, yeah, man. I mean, I've been a bouncer for about like 9 to 10 years, so I'm uniquely positioned and qualified, if you will, to speak on these matters. And it's funny because when you get alongside like-minded individuals and exchange notes, you tend to see where your flaws are, your mistakes, and you tend to see that, you know what, I wasn't crazy for having this instinct or going with my gut in scenario A and scenario B. So it's very important that you guys get out there, get your hands dirty. I know it's going to suck. Rejection sucks, but hey, in this lifetime, remember this, you're going to hear a whole lot more no's than yeses. So roll with the punches.
Thank you for that, Harold. By the way, he's definitely right about that. Your hands are going to get dirty. So depending on which hole you go in, the hands are going to be dirty. All right. So
other things might get dirty too.
woo-hoo. Oh man, it's getting crazy already on the next step for episode 2, man. Episode 2 is already getting lit. So well, let's go with Brad next. So 50 Shades of Brad, tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, past, present, future.
Yeah. So briefly about me, I know I have a kind of interesting story. I grew up super religious in a very like traditional Christian background. And I actually got married at a very young age. I was a virgin when I got married. I never really dated around. Never really learned much about women except that, oh, one day you'll find the right one and you'll get married and that'll be it. So I thought that's what it was. And then I got divorced at the age of 29 and realized I had no idea how to date. And the world had changed in that time with dating apps and the internet. So I've decided, you know what, I need to figure this out. I'm single now and I want to have a good time. And I never got to enjoy, a kind of like, fun dating lifestyle when I was young. So I really, I just took to it. I didn't complain. I didn't say, you know what, this dating stuff is bullshit. It's hard. And, I don't want to, I just want that fantasy that my parents told me, oh, the right one will come along. I embraced it. I embraced the game and I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money, hiring people to teach me and going out but that's been a lot of fun. That's where I've spent a lot of my money over the past few years is that going out to fun events, whether that's a music festival, a club, traveling, whatever it is, it's been a great adventure. And so that's, and along the way, I have been very fortunate to meet dozens of wonderful women that, I, for the most part, have always had great interactions with. And there's definitely been heartbreaks along the way, but that's just part of the game as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, man. And we have a lot to talk to you about as well and ask you questions because you were very deep in the pickup artist community. You've taken programs or like programs I've never heard of before. There were one particular program I have not heard before. So I'd love to get your experience and also what was it like working with them and teaching other students too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and all right. And we got Jonathan in the house. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody who's watching it right now and everyone who's going to watch it on the replay. So let's get Mr. Chris Matico in the house right now.
What's up, guys? My name is Chris. I'm more on the fitness side of things. So eventually we're going to open up Frame Fitness and Fighting. Got a new studio / new condo, so that's going to be lit. And I'm just a new guy in the dating market, man. And it's been great. I've obviously had coaching from HUDs, from Cam here, obviously like-minded group of individuals. And I was a guy who never really got a lot of dates. And I grew up with a we'll say it was a condition where it was I was trouble picking up social cues, and I had to get actual help to get that done. And unfortunately, it didn't really translate to women. It just translated to normal life. Since quarantine, I took the effort because I said to myself in 2020, I'm going to improve my life with women, and being around these group of men, it's vastly improved. So I started off as a virgin, and since then it's been soaring like Bitcoin. So life is good.
Before the crash, it was up till June.
Well, before the crash, but it's going back up. We just gotta keep that in mind. Okay, we're still going to the moon, boys.
Dude, honestly, dating life, it is like a crypto chart. You know what? Like, you can have some big wins, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're going to crash and burn for like a month straight. And you're going to be like, what happened? I thought this was going up forever. But eventually, the long-term trend, it does go up, or I guess I'm on the internet, so I got to go this way.
Man, it's like crypto, right? Sometimes, we go up, sometimes we have our downsides, but eventually the thing is we're the great asset. So we're going to keep going up, and, call me Ethereum because I'm going to keep getting these gains. Keep getting these wins.
Matico, I got a question for you.
When are we getting our ETH tanks, Matico?
I know, right? We can do that. What's up, brother? What's up, Harold?
All right, look here. If your lays were a coin, how many coins do you have?
Right now, probably like 8 ETH.
Don't answer.
Gentleman doesn't answer.
So the guys, the way you want to answer that is you want to ask yourself, is it like an Ethereum or is it like a Bitcoin? Is it a fixed supply or then limited supply? That's the question you want to ask yourself.
Let's just say I got a lot of DOT right now.
So I would say that my trajectory is like the AMP coin. So it's just slowly just going up, and it's not going to stop. And then it's funny. Here's the funny thing about like crypto. I don't know how crypto and dating all of a sudden became an analogy together, but it actually worked out pretty well. So kudos to you guys for bringing that up. But it's funny. So I don't know if you guys noticed this. So actually, Damien doesn't know this, but Amazon had a rumor that AMP and Algorand are going to work together. The moment I saw, so here's the funny thing about this, Damien. So Alex is Algorand's like #1 supporter.
Cam, let's do that afterwards. Let's do the full introduction.
Dude, we're going to get to it in just a second, brother. We're all going to get to it, man. It's smooth sailings. It's laid back, and we're all chilling, man. We're just a bunch of dudes.
I'm just not happy where my Algorand
All right. Then listen. So, Damien, so as I was saying with the story, the Algorand is Alex's #1 coin that he's supporting. AMP, as you know, is my coin that I'm supporting. The moment we saw that Amazon wanted Algorand and Amazon to work together, AMP and Algorand to work together, I sent Huz a message. I'm like, dude, it was destined for us to work together. I started cracking up when I saw that. But anyway, so let's go to Damien now. Thank you, Chris, for your introduction. Really appreciate you, brother. So let's go to Damien. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks for having me back. Honestly, I'm doing this on my phone. I'm doing this with my headphones. So can you hear me good?
Yeah, it might get a little choppy, but we'll let you know if it like starts getting staticky because wireless headphones on YouTube is not that good. So it's all good. Go for now.
Hopefully it'll come in through with, Apple on Apple much better. But as far as on my stuff, I'm more of a finances and econ guy, but as far as dating background, I like to analogize it to like climbing like rock climbing. Pretty much dating, you start off not very good at it. You get to a point where you feel like you're good at it, but the climbs get harder and harder. And as you get better, you go for more difficult climbs. And so you keep having to reassess your progress as you actually get better. So when it comes to like crypto as well, you really have to look at it from, okay, where did it start and where is it going to end, and where is your exit point? And so that's kind of how I look at dating as well. You're right, the roller coaster is there. It's just at what point do you get off of the actual roller coaster? So for myself, I mean, I'm a little bit older, so I've had a good number of relationships. I've had a good number of dates. I've had a lot of online dating success in the past. And so my introduction more to this group was to get a little bit better at non-online dating, really. And so that's kind of what I've been focusing on in the present slash future. And so ever since the pandemic, I was kind of working on a little bit of behind the scenes, other things, focusing on other aspects of dating, but really taking a break from it. And so once we got back into the swing of things, I've been opening back up in that sense too, kind of like the rest of the world, and playing catch up, but not from the online sense, from the regular sense of dating, like you guys are talking about, just between social, cold approach, warm introduction, things like that.
Okay. Thank you for your introduction, Damien. Appreciate you coming back on. So the audio is a little bit choppy when I was listening to you. So just mute yourself and then take out your headphones. And then once you go back in, just test the audio with us and we'll let you know if you're good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So guys, so Damien brought up the point of like, let's say that, or he brought up the pandemic, right? So I want everyone, starting with Harold. Harold, what was it like for you during the pandemic?
Okay, Cam, I don't have to give an introduction.
My bad. Everybody knows who you are already. Everybody knows who Alex is. We don't need no introduction for you. Go ahead, Alex. My bad.
No introduction.
I'll keep it short and sweet because I think that this is a really good question we're going to dive into.
Yes.
But yeah, so Alex, I go by HUDs, a couple different names. I do a lot of dating coaching, help men either if they're recovering from a breakup, recovering from divorce, or they just need to get it started. As Matiko was saying earlier, of going from a virgin to now being out there in the dating market and being pretty successful. I can help everybody, and that's just what I do. Whether it be in person, online dating, whatever it is, I make it happen. So go with your question.
Good. Thank you for your introduction, HUDs. HUDs is a dating coach out of all of us that's on this panel. So if anybody has any questions in the chat, please feel free to ask us any question. Nothing is too stupid. Nothing is limited. We want to know what's going on in your life because you got 6 guys right up here that have been coached before by men who are also dating coaches. And we felt there was always a void in our life in some areas. So we needed assistance. We got that fine tuning. Now we're ready to go. Okay. Harold, with the question of the pandemic, so how was dating for you during the pandemic life?
Well, the pandemic altogether, it was a great deal of uncertainty. We didn't know what the hell was happening. This is the first time, I guess, this method, lockdowns, if you will, were rolled out. So you really couldn't do anything, right? Except for call on the phone and like, hey, you want to come over? Oh, by the way, I'm asking you to take a big risk because we don't know how contagious this thing was. You get what I'm saying? So it was very difficult. And I think when we met, when we met during PPU, right?
Yep.
Alumni. So the thing is, I pretty much knew what I needed to know. However, it was all over the place. It was in pieces. When we got together, everything, it was precise and was concise knowledge right then and there. Furthermore, there was experience. There was people who had the same experiences I had. There was some people who had experiences where I'm like, oh shit, like, I could have been in the same situation. Maybe I went right and instead of left, and I would have been in that situation as well. But dating, I've never really had issues with dating. It's just understanding the female mindset. You get what I'm saying? Like, there were things that were happening. I didn't understand why it was happening. And that's my thing now. Like, I need to understand why it's happening. It's not good enough that I'm getting, lays, if you will. It's not good enough. I need to understand why it's happening so that way I can take it, model it, repackage it, and then get it out to the market. So that's my job as a consultant. So I mean, we're all familiar with that guy who he doesn't know how he gets laid, but it happens. And when we sit there and we examine and we assess, I guess his physical features, his disposition and all that, so on and so forth, we find that, okay, he's hitting this marker, he's hitting that marker. And, he's unable to explain it to his buddy who's just like hopeless. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I am at right now. So I understood that I needed to take these courses, not to learn everything from the ground floor, but to consolidate what I knew and, put in. Obviously, I learned a lot. PPU, BLM. I mean, goddamn, like we learned a lot, and we shared a lot as well. And we met great men along the way. And I think this consolidation of our minds is going to be powerful going forward. So when it comes to the pandemic, when, a couple months when it started to get lax and people were like, okay, no one's on the ground right now, you know what I'm saying? Like holding their stomach, writhing in pain. We were like, all right, let's just see how it goes. And, that's just that, man.
Thank you for that, Harold. And absolutely, man. I remember when we first had our mentor. That's the first time I ever saw you. I think it was PPU. Whenever you went on the screen and you started talking about maybe like Instagram or something. And I remember our mentor was like, dude, you should be, you with the way you look, how big you are, how strong you are and stuff. And also just like your presence on camera, you can be doing a whole lot better. And the conversation between you guys was very good. And I remember exactly. I was chilling in my house listening to this conversation. I'm like, damn, this guy, I want to be friends with him because he knows what he's talking about, and he's somebody like really like dialed in, understands what's going on in life.
Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely, beautiful. Thanks for that, man. So let's go to Brad. What was your dating life like in the pandemic?
So yeah, the pandemic highlighted the fact that I had a glaring hole in my game. And that was that I didn't have any experience with the online dating. I was hardcore into the pickup community, and I was going out every single weekend. I was approaching girls in real life, and that's still the way that I prefer it. And I enjoy it very much. And I'm into it for a lot more reasons than just getting laid. I was more in it for, the personal challenges and the personal development of it. But then the pandemic came, and all of a sudden, social distancing, you can't go out, bars and clubs are closed. And, even walking up to someone on the street, especially at the beginning, was like a no, like, hey, stay away. We need to social distance, all this stuff. So I'm like, well, crap, I guess I need to figure out this online thing, or I'm going to be pretty lonely for a bit. So that's, and again, that's how we met, through the online course that we were taking. And, slowly but surely I started to understand things about, just how social media worked, because I've never been a big social media guy. I have an Instagram, but I didn't really do much with it. I don't have a Facebook or a TikTok. So, I'm like, okay, Instagram I at least had. So I was like, okay, I'll at least, learn how to use this a little bit better. And then I'll just get, good at the dating apps. And it was definitely a challenge. And in a lot of ways, it is still challenging to me personally, because I don't feel that online dating necessarily comports to my strengths. A lot of my strengths are in person. I have a very good presence around girls. And when you're online, it's just pictures and verbals. And verbals is actually probably the weakest part of my game. I'm a very physical person. So that's kind of a strength of mine that I lean into. So I've had to practice that and get better at it. But I've definitely noticed that getting better at online game has helped me with my verbal game in person, because I can at least focus it and work on it. And I do like to work on my weaknesses and shore up anything that I feel might be holding me back in life, especially if it's something that's important to me, something that I want to be good at. And interestingly enough, what I did originally when the pandemic first started is I'd actually just gotten out of a relationship. So I decided to take a few months just to be alone and just be single, because I actually hadn't been I hadn't been like alone in a very, very long time, not pretty much since before I got married. And I was trying to, just figure out like, hey, like, that whole thing, where they say like, hey, you got to be okay with yourself before, you can be okay with other people or in a relationship. And so I did that for several months. And I learned that I am okay with myself, but I really hate being alone. So I was like, I got to get back into the dating scene. And, thankfully, even better than the results I got out of that is just been the amazing group of men that I've met along the journey. Just brothers in arms, people who have your back, people who are on the same path as you, who have the same mindset as you. That's more valuable than, any random lay that I've had.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Brad. Appreciate it, man. And yeah, dude, you've been growing, man. And we see we're in the mastermind. We're always like talking to each other and we're always like discussing and sharing notes. So we see what you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Man,
all right.
We're going to see some shit at the end of August, man.
Yes, we are. And I'm ready for Beyond Wonderland. It's going to be a very, very fun time. I'm very excited for that. I know you and me are going to kill it. All right. So let's go to Chris. So what was dating life for you in the pandemic?
There we go. All right. So I'm going to say something a little bit different because everyone here was saying, it was difficult and all that type of stuff. So for me, you have to understand, I came from a position where I had this much game. Absolute zero. Nada. Completely nothing. So when the pandemic hit, I made an oath to myself that I was going to do self-improvement. And one of those things for self-improvement was, learning how to talk to women. And I used that time during the pandemic to learn about female psychology, to learn about all this type of stuff. And during the pandemic, it was actually the time where I actually lost, my V card. And it was a great time. And actually it just started getting better during the pandemic because I actually was implementing the stuff that I was learning. I was sending constant super chats. I was literally taking notes from all the free videos that our mentor, who we learned from, was making videos about, from Rollo Tomasi. Shout out to him and all that sort. So just taking those notes, using that time in quarantine as camp to enter the fight, which is now 2021, where you can go out, not just relying on the dating apps and actually going out to meet women in person. And I'm very thankful to have met people like HUDs, like you, Cam, like, Harold, Brad, and Damien, all of you, because not only are we just, men with the same like mind, but we're actually pushing each other to become better. And as someone who started from ground zero and now we're building up, I mean, for God's sakes, I just got myself an apartment, a condo. So that's going to be even better for my game now. So just overall self-improvement, quarantine was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm thankful for that because I wouldn't have met you guys.
If I may, Chris, remember the time we had that 2-hour conversation on Telegram and you were just picking my brain? And I didn't really know you at the time, but I was like, man, this kid is fucking, he's just a pit bull.
Yep.
He was asking me questions. It was like 2 hours. I said, okay, you know what, 15 minutes. And then we were on the phone, we were on the Telegram chat for like close to 2 hours, if it wasn't 2 hours. And I'm like, you know what?
It was a long time, yeah.
Knowledge, he wants to soak it up. And, you've blossomed. That's just all I wanted to say, man. Good work.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
He's absolutely killing it. And the fact that you just bought a house, condo or whatever today, dude, Jesus Christ.
Making moves.
Imagine. Like from where you were to who you are now.
Making moves.
No
Vegeta on the rise.
Always trying to be Kakarot.
And Matica, you joined in like Q3 or 4 last year, right?
I joined Salt 2.
Salt 2. Wow. So yeah, like, I mean, this has been a short amount of time for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You know what it is? He listens.
Yep.
That's the issue that so many people have when they try and get help. They don't.
Absolutely. I've told a lot of people lately, who've asked me about, my results in life. And I'm like, guys, honestly, I have a very specific philosophy about this. Whatever you want in life, find someone else who has it, pay them to teach you how to do it, and then shut the fuck up and do it. Whatever they say, just do it. Like, that's simple. It is that fucking simple. I own a house. It is my biggest expense. You guys know what my second biggest expense in life is? It's coaching. Like over the past 4 years, and I don't mean just like, oh, over the last few months. I mean, over the last 4 years, my transformation has been dramatic, and I have not done this alone. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on coaching because I know what I want, and it's easier for me to have someone who knows how to do it just tell me what to do than try to spin my wheels over and over and over again.
Well,
And
yeah,
I think that's so important as well, because like, look at you. You're a good looking guy. Like, on the surface level, nothing is wrong. But you recognize you need to fix some things and you want to get on that mindset and you're willing to do that. So people would look at you and be like, oh, dude, Brad, you're fine. Like, what are you talking about? But you recognize that. And
Yeah,
you're working
but I mean,
towards it.
like you said, just the reason I have all this, like my looks, yeah, I was born with it, but everything else I have in my life,
Well, a couple like this.
yeah, I can't help it, you guys. All right. Everything else that I have, you know, that's really like anything in my life that is results oriented that I have, I've had people helping me along the way. And I do think that, you know, I was fortunate to have good parents who instilled good habits in me, like the importance of delayed gratification and hard work and all that. But like I said, you know, once I got divorced, I was no longer living my parents' life and I wanted something different than what they had. So I had to go seek out other people who had what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
and if I
Yep.
can add too,
Go
you
ahead,
know,
Chris.
you know how hard it is to actually find people in this space that actually know what they're doing? Because listen, you can go up to your player buddies, you can go up to your frat boys, you can go up to the douchebag at school who gets all the girls. They're not going to teach you jack, even though they have the results. So when you actually find people that are getting results and who actually know and can actually break it down for you, and you don't listen, that's an insult to you personally. You know what I mean? That's the one thing people need to remember. So if you're actually going to find these results, you better be willing to sit down and humble yourself when you're doing this type of crap. That's the one thing I need to say.
Well said. Well said,
Very
Chris.
true.
So, Damien, let's go to you. And then, Alex, we got also a guest that wants to be part of the stream who's going to ask us dating questions. So anyone on the panel is welcome to do it. I would like Alex to, in particular, to spearhead it because he's the dating coach. But let's go with Damien. And then Alex, go ahead and just give like a little bit of short introduction about the whole pandemic thing.
And I
Go
also want to test this. Does it just throw me forward? Oh, hey, look at me.
Yeah,
All
it
right,
is.
go ahead, David. I'm just pressing all the buttons. Go for it.
I guess for myself, I came from a background of always getting into like a relationship. So I was really a serial monogamous for a long time and felt that was really the best way, not knowing that there was all of these other paths that I could take. And so probably I say during the pandemic, I got out of a relationship and just took a break from everything for about 6 months and just did a hard reset and got back online dating. And it went really well for a while there. For like a 3-month streak, it went really well. And then again, I just took another break and restarted. And it also went really well again for another 3 months. And so being able to do that, the background that I had, I kind of knew I had all these pieces sitting on there like a toolkit on the side of taking an engine apart. And I just kind of just started figuring out, okay, what pieces go in what order to pull off what parts to make sure that the engine comes out properly. If you need to swap engines, for example, in my metaphor. And so that part works as long as you know what pieces go in what order. If you don't know what pieces go in what order, then that thing's just going to fall out of the car and you just mess yourself up. And so what ends up happening is that I had an opportunity to just redo that again. And it was quite nice once I taken a break and realized that I knew what I was looking for and what I wasn't looking for and had a chance to do it that way. But now that I've done that, I want to take a break from online dating and just go about it the regular way. Now that we're sort of in this quasi back to in-person situation that we're in right now, depending on where you live, of course. And so coming back to where we're at right now, I'm taking a break from that other aspect and focusing really on more in-person, out in the field kind of situations like you were talking about.
Thank you, Damien. Alex, go ahead and take your time with the question with your response, because I'm just trying to find out if our guest is ready to go. But go ahead, Alex. Take it away. How was dating for you in the pandemic?
You know what? I will take it away. I love this. This is so funny. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I never did online dating. Like, obviously, like I did do Tinder and whatnot, and like played around with it in the past. I had never met up with somebody once until this pandemic from a dating app. And it was just the dating apps and how do you navigate this situation? Like, it just made sense. And with everybody moving to TikTok and like everybody's all about sitting at home looking at their phone, it's like, all right, how do I bridge that gap? And I am a huge proponent as well of the in-person stuff. So if I can't do in person, what's the next best? And it's a video chat. And so being able to meet people online, move them to that chat, and then actually connect in a certain way, and then go to the actual date in person, it was that way to be able to actually have that normal human interaction that you could not have with all these lockdowns and everything that was going on. And I think it was so crazy because, as I said, I never had done it before. And so I had to learn it, and I had to learn it really quick. And I mean, look at me now. This is what I do. It's like I teach people how to do that. All because I had to learn it the hard way. And I want to give that back so that people don't have to struggle that way.
All right, Alex. So thank you, by the way, for that camera thing too, because whenever people are talking, I know I can just actually, here we go.
So
like
we
this.
can do it this, yeah.
Yep.
We can do it that way, and we got.
Damn, who's that? Who's that handsome dark chocolate right there? There we go. That's that Harold. That's the official signature Harold move. You got to do it again. Do it for the ladies right now, Harold. Yeah, buddy, get it, swag.
Am was the one who told me when I took that picture. He said, "Post that shit immediately." And ever since then, I've been getting DMs, if you will, about how lovely that picture is, yada yada yada. So yeah,
My man.
you're the ace.
My man. You know what I picture I like a lot about you, Harold, is the one that is the one where you're in the jacuzzi, or not jacuzzi, geez, on the jet ski, and you're in the water in Miami, and you got your full suit on and everything.
Dude, when I'm on Clubhouse, they can't believe it. Yeah, when I'm on Clubhouse and I'm sitting there talking my shit, man, they just go berserk. They're like, "Hold up, are you on a jet?" I was like, "Yeah." Where is your lifeguard? Where's the what's that thing?
Wait, but hold on. Can black men not swim? Like, I don't understand what the problem is.
How dare you?
All right. So we have, by the way, guys, just for everyone who's watching this right now, thank you, everybody. Please go ahead and, if you have any questions, ask us in the chat. No question is stupid. No question is limited. We want to help you out because we've been there before. We all want to just help you out on your journey. So we do have somebody who's in the backstage right now, but he said he's going to be ready in just a moment. He's going to ask us some questions, some dating related questions. He's actually a personal friend of mine, and hopefully the connection of where he's at and everything he's doing is going to be okay and stable. So before we go into him and before we help him, and when he's ready, I want to pose a question to Alex. So, Alex, what are you seeing that men are lacking the most as a characteristic trait when they date women? Okay.
Action.
Okay.
That's it. It's just action. Everybody's too nervous. They're not doing something, and they're not. The perception of them is like passive, and it's like asking permission for something instead of just taking action. And if she's not okay with it, that's okay, and then you move forward. But they're not doing that. They're not getting to that step, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Cam, I'd like to take a swing at this one. The way I see it, a lot of men have a gross underestimation of themselves, and they have a gross overestimation of the woman that they're looking at. So they play her up to be this goddess, can't be touched. You know, I'd be lucky. You get what I'm saying? Like if she
Right.
give me a pat on the back or whatnot, and that you sweat that essentially, like you just, and she smells it on you. It's a nonverbal communication that I'm less than or I'm lesser. So when you do happen to summon up the courage, and again, kudos to you for summoning up the courage to speak to a complete stranger, but the game is already lost. War is done. You know, she's just gonna, blow you off or whatnot. So guys, you know, you need to look at yourself and say, yes, I am worth it. I am worth it. I am worth it. I am worth it. Keep saying it over and over. People want to hang out with me. People like me. Yada yada yada. If this doesn't go past hi, hello, it's her loss. Because I'm a great guy. I'm an awesome guy. I'm a bad boy. However you need to play yourself up, if you don't already have the mindset of, look, I'm me, you'd be lucky to have me. Type situation, you have to you have to get yourself in the game. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing. Whenever I'm consulting with some guys and they're like, oh, how, she does this, she does that. I'm like, dude, she belches, farts, and brags just like everybody else. All right, you know what I'm saying? Stop playing her up to be something more than she is. You know,
But girls don't poop.
they're less
That's the one
not
thing.
to say that, but come on, guys, like,
I appreciate it, Harold. Thank you for the input, man. Absolutely. And remember this, it's always about you. The world revolves around you.
Yep.
You have to be centered with yourself, because even with that kind of statement, which is a very selfish sounding statement, it's a very bold statement. However, remember, when you become centered with yourself and you are making everything about yourself and not so much on what the girl thinks, not what your boss thinks, not what your friend thinks, you make it about yourself. You have boundaries, you have standards. And the more centered with yourself you are, you don't have time for hate. You don't have time for lack of confidence. You don't have time to wait for the girl to reject you or whatever. You're just going to go and throw in your bid. If she's down, she's down. She's not, she's not. So with that being said, I have a special guest right now in our stream. So Rich is down there again. He's a personal friend of mine. He's working on his dating skills, just like we all started from our journeys as well. Wherever area of expertise or level of game that we had, now we're all like striving for being the most optimal state, which is continuously always growing anyway. So Rich, thank you for coming on the stream, man. Really appreciate you. By the way, it takes courage and the ability to be comfortable with providing vulnerability on the web. None of us had any issues with doing it. We're all here. We're talking about a personal life. So kudos to you, brother, that you're ahead of 99% of guys out there that are too scared to ask us a damn question in the chat with a fake screen name. You're on camera. We all can see your face. And we can all see the handsome smile that you got. All right. That charming smile, man. The real estate smile, bro. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then feel free to start asking whatever question you want for us.
And we want the age, what you do for a living. He said
Yeah.
real estate, and then your relationship status.
Okay, so I'm 83. I live in Los Angeles, California, not too far away from the Grand Cam himself. I sell real estate. I've been doing it for 2 going on 3 years this coming March. And I just started having some good success this coming year after COVID. Probably COVID was my best year. And I started getting some success with that. A little bit about myself. Let's see. So I've been studying self-development for a while, self-development as a whole. And I remember reading a book. I think it was The Mystery Method. I don't know if you guys are aware of that individual. And I remember in the book, the pickup artist for the game or some shit like that, he talked about the 3 pillars of life, which were supposed to be in harmony together, which were good, which is your health pillar, your love pillar, and your wealth pillar, okay? So I started with my health pillar first because it was the easiest to obtain because it doesn't cost you anything. Cost you about $30 a month to join the gym. So I did that. Thought it would help me get some girls, and it did get me some attention, but it didn't help me retain any of these women that I got the attention from, okay? All right, so I'm like, all right, I got my health and fitness on point, a little bit above average. So let me work on my finance pillar. That one took a while to get. The real estate thing didn't start popping off for me till about year 2. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really going to focus on my dating life until I start making some decent money to have at least a place to bring back the girl. I mean, hanging out in your car with a girl drinking a bottle of wine doesn't really make you feel like a man. And that's kind of what I had to do. I did, pounds and pelvises in the back of my car, which is fine. So yeah, I would say I try to get my money right, got my money right, moved out of my parents' house. I got my own spot, no roommates. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm officially a full grown man, completely independent, 100%. Now let me start, getting us some girls. So I moved out here during December, which was prime COVID. Pretty hard to meet girls during prime COVID. I was never on the dating apps, never had any success. Tried Tinder here and there. Didn't really have. I'm lying. I had 2 girls come to my house, and we kind of dated a little bit, but nothing came out of it. But that's about it. After that, I kind of gave up on it because I wasn't having the success.
Hold on. Back up for a second. What does that mean? Nothing came out of it.
Like,
did you guys make out? Did you have sex?
It was like you hung out a couple times. First girl, then I realized that it's not someone I want to vibe with. I'm just good at making conversation, so it was never awkward, but I felt like it was kind of forced. It wasn't really like we flowed and time didn't fly, which I have had with other women. So I kind of based it off that, and I'm like, this girl is probably not the right fit for me. So I kind of just ghosted her in a sense. And then the other girl, we actually really connected and we really vibed and all that, but she lived about 35 miles away, which in Los Angeles is like an hour and a half. And I'm not willing to do all that for a girl. That's just my personal preference. I know a lot of guys would, but personally me, I'm not with it. So that kind of went to that. Then I'm like, okay, what's a way that I could approach girls? And I'm like, okay, the only place I'm seeing girls right now is at the gym. And there's not that many girls at the gym. As you guys know, it's a male-dominated thing. And kind of approached every single girl from there. Nothing really came out of it. I probably got rejected 85% of the time. And then the 2-3 girls that said yes, we never really moved it forward and closed it because my game wasn't on point. So I'm like, okay, dude, well, shit. Like, obviously, the money isn't really helping. Like, it helps my ego, makes me feel like a man, but it's not really helping me in the sense of whatever I'm projecting.
By the way, you think it makes you feel like a man, but it's not. You're not a real man. You're not a man just because you make money. It's expected for you to make money as a man, but it doesn't make you a man just because you have a lot of money. So but continue with what you're saying.
It's the same thing, Cam. It's the same thing too. It doesn't make you a man just because you're built and you're muscular.
Correct. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm realizing now that I'm getting more into the space that you guys are in, and I'm hearing all these things, and I'm like, okay, so there is people that have kind of like, I wouldn't say crack the code, but are trying to figure it out, and there's like a whole space behind it of people like trying to better their lives in that aspect of everything. So I'm like, let me surround myself with these individuals, and then as I don't know who said it on the chat, but I think someone said, if there's someone kind of living the way you want to live, like, why are you not hanging out with them, and why are you not doing the exact steps that they're doing? So Cameron kind of showed me his dating profile, and it is popping to say the least. And I'm like, wow, this is how I want to live. So what are you doing? So basically, he gave me like a couple steps. I did every single step. I'm still doing the steps, and it's not really popping off like I would want it. I think there's a lot more that I could do, but I'm very humble in the sense where whatever someone says, I take it and I apply it, and obviously I'm doing it. So I think that's the main point. But I'm trying to figure out my love life and everything, because everything that I heard growing up isn't really what it turns out to be. I thought like the most rich and jacked dudes get all the girls, and I'm not fully jacked and I'm not fully rich, but I have the basics, and it's not really helping me get any girls. So I realized there's definitely.
Let me hop in here.
You're leading this, Alex. You're leading this conversation with Rich. Go ahead. And then we got the other guys that are going to help too, but you're the dating coach. We want to hear your insight a lot on this.
Sure. So, Brad, were you there with me on that first day when we were out there in Miami, and that mom or whatever else at the other table?
No, I wasn't.
No, Brad flew in with me.
Cam, we just pulled in right after that.
Yeah.
I was there.
You were there? And you saw that, and you saw me as a person. I am not fit. I don't look great. I'm pretty, but I'm not like ripped. So like me focusing on fitness doesn't, like, it's important for my personal health, but it's not important to getting girls, right?
To you,
I'm
Rich.
turning that to you, Harold.
Oh, Harold or Rich? Oh,
Well, the
To
thing,
Harold.
the thing is, as men who understand the abundance mindset, we understand that not every single woman is going to want us. So whether there's a woman who just only likes jack dudes, okay, whatever. You only like jack dudes, okay, I'm out of here. I'm moving on to the next. And or I only like guys who are lanky, skinny, or who have a particular look or physique, if you will. So me personally, like, the content is what's most important, to tell you the truth, guys. Working out, obviously, I mean, a baseline, physique or body will do you good, of course, but to say that you need to be jacked, nah, you don't need to be jacked. Believe me, like, trust me. I seen Alex for the first time. I was like, okay, guy, obviously he loves beer, but he knows what the who am I to say, oh, well, because you're not jacked? No, guys.
well, I want
need to really examine sometimes the message, however unlikely it may sound coming from someone's mouth. Is it actionable? Does it work? Because if it works, then what are you going to say? Oh, man, he doesn't look like Arnold, so therefore he's, it's inauthentic. No, guys, you guys need to have a great discernment for taking information. That's what
okay. So,
Yes, sir. And I want to, Cam, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to bring it to Damien too, because we're talking about fitness and looks here. And then with Damien works a lot with money and making sure you got your finances in order. I also would argue that, having girls attracted to you, getting laid, getting relationships, again, does not necessarily matter when it comes to like how much you have in your bank. But I want to know Damien's thoughts on that.
I guess for me, kind of like fitness, when it comes to finances, you have to have a set baseline that shows that, okay, you have a certain level of lifestyle for where you live and for what you do that really just matches competency. So if you are for example, a guy who works in finance or a guy who works in real estate, you have to have that I work in real estate look. You have to have the I work in finance look. If you work in the medical industry, you have to have the I work in the medical industry look. And well, what does that mean? That means that you live in a certain part of town, but you don't have to have the biggest house. You just have a baseline house or a place to live that makes sense for where you live. You live in the right part of town where you're going to run into the women that you want to meet. You want to do the activities for the kind of women that you want to meet, and you want to do the activities that actually make you happy and confident. And so having enough resources to do those hobbies, having enough resources to have that lifestyle is really all you need. Kind of like what you were saying with fitness. You don't have to be the most jacked dude, but if there's no sense of adventure in your life and you're not doing things on a regular basis, they're going to figure that out pretty quickly. They're like, oh, wait, you're online or I met you in person, but you don't really do anything but go to work and go home. Like, what are you doing? So that's kind of like where finances play into that. And so it's really just a whole wraparound package when it comes to that.
Thank you, Damien. And
Yeah,
I want to
go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, thank you, Hud. So I'd like to have Chris go next on this because Chris is someone who's in fitness. He is Jack, but also Chris, you with your own personal experience, and well, actually, let's just go with like the whole spectrum, right? Well, let me just go back to me really quick, and I'll go back to you, Chris. So I want a perspective where Rich can see literally everything. He sees the Jack dude. He sees the guy who's good with money. He sees the guy who says like you can be jacked, but you don't have to be super jacked. I want to get everyone's perspective, right? So Chris, since you're, one of the, people in our panel that's like pretty well in shape, so we want to know your opinion. For your perspective, like, do you think a guy has to be super, super ripped, or like, does he need the minimum of your physique? What is it that you think that helps with like the situation for Rich?
So here's the thing when it comes to fitness and when it comes to chicks. You don't need to be the most strict guy in the room, but there are scientific studies proven that if you have a wider shoulder to hip ratio, it is going to be more of an attraction trigger than if you were to be like a big fat slob that's playing World of Warcraft in their mom's basement. You know what I mean? So there are certain factors of physical fitness that are attractive, but that's the thing. They're attractive. They're things that get you the interview, but they don't get you through the door. Now, obviously you have certain, attributes as well that can play against that. For instance, height is a big thing. So you can be 200 odd pounds, not have a lot of muscle, but if you're 6'5" or 6'4", you can play that off because the fat doesn't really show as much because you're taller, right? So it all really depends on what your personal situation is and all that sort. Because Rich, I don't know how tall you are. I don't know how much you
Ask him.
Yeah, Rich, how tall are you, by the way?
Pretty average.
Like, okay, well, what's pretty average? Like 5'8", 5'7"?
5'9".
5'9". All right, and how much you weigh?
190, 189, 190.
All right, so you're like 185, 190? All right, so that's not too bad, but okay. So you're probably relatively muscular because I could tell from your video you're a pretty muscular dude. So you shouldn't probably. So when it comes to dating, obviously you're relatively in shape. You're better off than the majority of the Americans in the world. So you're pretty much fine there. But the thing is that I'll say two things. You need to have an objective with your fitness, or you're not going to have confidence in it. And you need to keep that thing going because you have to keep that drive going because that drive will also go into other aspects of your life, like money and dating as well. Because if you start off with fitness, you obviously have a drive to get a set goal. You have to keep that goal in mind and alternate that same willingness to go into other aspects of dating. Does that make any sense?
So have a goal in fitness so it can correlate to the other aspects of your life is what you're saying.
Yes. And in addition, do you do anything else besides working out? Do you do any sports as well? Any recreational, combat sports, anything like that?
So I just go weight lift probably 4 or 5 days a week. That's about it.
Okay, so another thing I would also suggest, if you have anything with confidence issues, try joining a sport that you're good at or that you're wanting to learn. So, for instance, if you were looking to join a basketball team, like a recreational basketball team, boom, join that. It gets you social acuity. It gets you to a higher status because you know more people, and you probably can run into a couple of big names as well, right? That might be, doing recreational with you, or even getting to a sport like jiu-jitsu as well. So you're not only just learning combat skills, but you get that same social acuity. And next to that, if you're going to meet a girl there, which I don't usually recommend hitting on girls there, but if you end up meeting a girl who's attractive and she's into you, who knows? Something good can blossom from it. And that's for a long-term thing only. Don't do it just to get laid. But try and do something like that. Incorporate that physical fitness into other aspects that are not just weightlifting, right? Because we can all go to the gym and get jacked. Congratulations. What do you want? A protein cookie? Awesome. Try and do other things as well, whether that be powerlifting even as well. At least with powerlifting, you have a goal, right? It has that extra set of competition there. So it helps gain your confidence and it sets you on that drive. So keep that in mind as well.
I want to double down actually really quick on Matiko's comment. So that was very important what Chris was saying. So one thing so this is my interpretation. I know Chris had other intentions with bringing it up, but I'm sure this is also kind of a foundation of what he's referring to. His advice is encouraging adventure, masculinity, and using your, let's just say, any kind of aggression that's built up inside you, which can be the result of all the insecurities that you're possibly facing right now, right? You use it in a constructive way through sports, through competition, through being a man, right? So Chris, we were, our ancestors, right? They all at one point met each other, battled each other, something like that. War has always been going on. Battles between men have always been going on. Competition between men has always been going on. I used to see this as unhealthy. I used to see it as oh my God, screw all these people. But you need competition. The greatest people in the world, well, I don't want to say the greatest people, but the people that had a lot of influence in the world were some of the ones that they were just bulldozing through communities. We have emperors, we have kings from our ancestors that were taking over the world. And then the Mongols and Genghis Khan. So the reason why I'm bringing this all up is because it's bringing excitement, variety, not just a plain Jane mundane gym only. Let's just say, right? If you were kind of feeling you're being a bit of lackluster in your life, a little bit of just it's boring vanilla. You got to do something else. You got to explore your options. You got to do something just different from what your life is currently going right now. Because I feel like this. If your life is in a direction that you're not getting the results you want, you got to change it somehow. Maybe getting into, for example, a combat sport. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but let's just say you decided to do combat sport as an idea. And then that's going to bring a whole new side of you that you haven't even, complements with coaching and working on yourself and all this stuff I know you're involved in to work on yourself to make it better. Then women will just start seeing you in a different light. Kind of, how like when that situation happened with us at the bar last Saturday, when we just walked in, no line.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the result. Yeah, we'll get into that story in just a second. I want other guys to chime in on also
It
helping you out.
reminds me of Roar.
So
when Hayden showed up and I was like, yo, come on.
So what happened? That moment, Rich, was a moment of a guy walking up to that bouncer, the woman who was by the line taking all the tables and stuff like that. She felt my energy. She felt this guy is, big BDE, right? Which you know what BDE stands for?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's BDE that's inside me, right? And this energy that I have is different from the average guy. So and she probably thought we were like, whatever. Anyway, good looking and charming as well. But like that energy, she felt that energy. That's what I wanted to say about that. Variety and something about adventure in your life is so super important. Alex, did you want to?
I'm just going to jump on that, Cam.
Yeah. Feel free, Brad.
That's
please,
right around what I was going to say about when it comes to the whole looks and money thing. They do matter. It's not that they don't, but they're not what's going to make the girl fuck you. Or they're not what's going to cause that attraction. They're factors in it, but at the end of the day, what's important to her, like what's going to the girl, is how you make her feel. Because girls are very sensual and emotional creatures, and they want feelings and they want emotions. Now, a good look, nice muscles, that can add to that feeling for sure, especially in the more traditional, like, oh, he can protect me, he's got big muscles, he's strong, he looks good, maybe he has social status. That's all part of it. But if that's the only thing you're walking in with, it's not going to get you the girl, So when you see like good looking jack dudes with girls or rich dudes with girls, rich dudes with girls, it could be paying them. You never know. But what's most likely happening is that they have that part of their life down, but they've also learned how to make women feel a very certain way. So when they feel this way, that attraction grows. Now, if they're feeling that way and you're good looking and you got money, now they're falling in love, so like I said, it's not that they don't matter, they do, but at the end of the day, if you're not making her feel a certain way and going in with a certain energy, none of those things are going to matter. Because that's one of the biggest things I notice. So I was in Vegas over Memorial Day helping coach a boot camp of guys, going to talk to girls.
And how many guys was it, by the way? How many guys?
There's a lot. There's like a dozen or so.
Nice.
And maybe that's a bit much. Maybe about like 8 or 9. And one thing that this company does is they hire models to work with during the day before we go out. So you can kind of practice in a controlled environment with actual like beautiful women. And one thing I noticed just over and over and over again, when these guys would go up and they talk to these girls, they deliver their lines. Some of these guys are good looking. A lot of them have their money on point. But even me watching, it was really interesting because I was basically standing next to the girl and observing the whole thing. Is even me, I was like, I just don't feel it, man. Like, I don't feel it from you. Like, and this kind of even maybe jump on something that Alex said earlier about that whole, just being timid and not just almost feeling like they needed permission. I was telling them, dude, there's a gorgeous woman standing in front of you. How do you feel about her right now? Like, you got to go in with that energy and you got to mean it. You got to mean what you say. That's a big thing women love, like you can go into an interaction with a very direct approach and you can say like, hey, I think you're cute, or damn girl, you're sexy, or whatever. But how you say it, the energy you approach her with is going to make all the difference. So you have to, and that's really where like the whole confidence things comes from. It's like, are you confident in what you're saying? Do you really mean it? Because if you really do mean it, she's going to feel it. And it's going to cause her to start to build some attraction.
Yeah, let me jump in here real quick. Rich, it's very important that everything that we're telling you, it stems from obviously data and field reporting, of course, but the genesis of all this is you feeling you, meaning like you being confident in yourself. And
Yeah. Now we're getting it. Woo!
Medical touched on it by way of competition. I mean, guys, competition is what got us these powerful computers. Because if we didn't have any competition, we'd be in like 2-bit, unable to stream. Shit wouldn't happen. Competition is life. It really is. So this one versus that one versus this one. And I would say, this is me personally, yes, the weightlifting is good. Perhaps you would like to explore another gym to change the atmosphere. Perhaps you would like to go into a combat sport. Now, I myself, when I'm consulting with men, I tell them to get into a combat sport because the overwhelming calmness, the solemnness in knowing that you can defend yourself and knowing that you can defend others if need be, and that you can handle yourself, it speaks its volumes. It exudes. You're going to exude that confidence. It's somewhat of a solemn judgment that you have. You're like, you know what? Yeah, this person is talking some high-powered shit here, but I have the ability to hurt them. I have the ability to take them out, and because I have that, I have to practice restraint. That's going to show itself somehow, some way. It's going to show itself. So ultimately, everything always comes back to you. You are your own mental point of origin. Everything starts and begins with you. So when your money's on point, right? When your fitness is on point and your whole mindset is on point, you don't need pickup lines. You don't need all this extra. You don't. I mean, yeah, all right. If you're like, I hate to say it, if you're swinging outside of your league at the time, all right, maybe a cheesy pickup line, who knows? But for the most part, you just become Rich 10.0. This is what I approach women. I make money. I can defend myself, yada, yada, yada. I can take it there if I need to, but I'm not, because I have judgment. All that stuff comes from you. And we gain satisfaction through what? Achievements, accomplishments. So, all right, I achieved 6 figures. All right, I'm able to defend myself. All right, I hit this goal, milestone. Maybe I read 1,000 books for the year. Who knows? Whatever it may be, it always starts with you. So, everyone here is giving great advice. You get like when it comes to the micro. We can get into details and stuff, but you have to own you. Essentially, that's what I want to say. You have to own you.
Yep. And I would like to have Damien go next on this. Go ahead, brother.
I guess when I was listening around to the group, I was thinking about it like this. Rich, do you speak like any other languages, like besides like English? Like, have you picked up like another language, during like being out in LA?
I speak Spanish fluently.
Okay, but did you pick it up like when you were older in life, or did you learn it for like growing up?
No, like I'm Mexican. My parents are at least. Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing I give is kind of like when somebody is picking up a brand new language and they're really just taught it phrase by phrase, is like level 1. And then level 2 is when they start putting the phrases together rather than hearing somebody say a bunch of phrases. And then level 3, when they understand what phrases are put together in what order. And that's kind of like how I'm giving you this tool set and giving you like, the mindset is when you're able to just speak the language like you do now. And you're not thinking about every word, you're just doing it. And so the things we're giving you is we're giving you the words and we're telling you to put them in a certain order, but your way of putting them in that order is going to show your intention. It's going to show that you are a natural when it all kind of fuses together. And so that's really my best example there of what mindset means when we talk about it in this sense. is that it's taking those pieces and putting them together in a way that seem like you didn't pick them up separately. They just showed up together.
Rich, what's your whole take on everything that's been said so far? What are you gathering from what everybody's saying?
I would say probably the vibe and the frequency. It's not really. I think it was Brad that said, like, I was standing next to the girl and I wasn't really feeling it, which makes perfect sense to me because in my gig or any time that I've done a successful approach, I kind of have a pitch from kind of what I say and in the sequence that I say it. And it's the times when I feel the best and the delivery is just solid that it hits completely different, almost like day and night, to the point where I've had guys like come up to me and be like, dude, what did you tell that person? Like it looked from the outside like it went really good. And I tell him, he's like, what the fuck? Everyone says that. And I was like, yeah, because I feel great at that point in time. And then I've done it other times where I just felt the need to do it because I'm like, wow, this girl's hot as fuck. And I don't want to be like, what if I did it and I never did it? So I do it anyways, even though I'm not feeling it and it just doesn't hit the same. So I would say that's another one. I would say kind of.
Hey, Rich, to that point, I want Brad I would like Brad to actually speak up on this. Okay, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's definitely not to say don't ever be in a situation where you're like, oh, I'm not feeling it right now, so I'm not going to approach her, because you never know. Shit happens, sometimes you'll approach a girl and there will be instant chemistry and you will start feeling it. But also, like, at least if you're in a night game situation, the more people you talk to, generally the more you're able to get out of your head and the easier it becomes to socialize with everyone. So you will be feeling really good. And then it's happened to me many times, is sometimes I'll just be having so much fun and I'll approach a girl without even thinking like, oh my God, I'm about to approach a girl. I'm just being a fun social dude. And I see a person, it could be a girl, and I walk up, I may tease her about something or say something funny, and she might bite right away. But yeah, she's absolutely feeling my energy. Now, to that point, I've had many days where I was not feeling it at all. I felt like I was being I don't know, maybe reverting back to some kind of old introverted ways. And, maybe I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go home. I'm not feeling this, but before I go, I'll talk to one more girl and end up having a great connection with her, because it can be built up. So, I would just definitely say, when it comes to energy, it's not just always necessarily about feeling good. It's about what kind of energy you're putting forth, so even if you are feeling bad, or not bad necessarily, but just, not the best, still how are you showing up? How are you communicating with this girl? Right. Yeah, that's what I would say about that.
Thank you, Brad. And then I would like Alex. So Alex, go ahead and help us with this. And let me unmute you. So Rich, Alex, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't understand what the direct question is.
Go ahead. Well, it wasn't a direct question. I mean, Rich was actually just talking about like a little bit about what's going on, and the result of certain things he's done has led to certain outcomes. Rich, do you have a specific question that Alex can help you with? Because he is the dating coach of our panel. He's the one that can help you out.
Sure. The title of the page. What's the next step? What's the first step? There is many steps. There's a lot of steps people say to take. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Of course, you're supposed to take them all. But what could be the foundation? Like before, for example, let's say before you, materialistic possession, before you buy the Ferrari, you got to buy a car. Where do you start at the beginning to get you to that level? Like, what would be a good base? Like, do this, then do that, then do that, and then do that. And then eventually you become that person, because you're not going to come from zero skill to a grandmaster, So that's kind of what I want to find out. what would be the
Sure.
first step?
So I can't give you a step by step. That's not going to happen. And you know, as I was joking around with Harold earlier, you know, he took one look at me. He's like, "This guy drinks beer," because like I do. It's a part of my life that like I enjoy. I enjoy drinking and having fun. I enjoy tailgating. I enjoy going to bars. I enjoy happy hour, whatever. So I need to understand, like, where are you at? Like, how many girls are you actually talking to?
How's your audio, Rich? Okay, hold up.
He didn't like that.
All right, hold on. Let me mute his mic. Mute. Come on.
Yeah, because it like, you know, I was talking to somebody else that reached out to me about coaching program today, and it's the same thing that I told them, and it was like, you know what, like, you know, it's molded to you, it's sculpted to you, it's whatever you need at this time, and if you can't give me that answer, I can't help you, and I'm not going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same type of thing. Like if you don't know what you're looking for, or if you don't have a goal in mind, then you're just wasting my time and yours. It's the same thing when you're going in the gym. If you're like, I'm coming in the gym because I want to get in shape. Well, what does get in shape mean for you?
Yep.
And they don't have a goal. What the hell are you supposed to do?
Harold, what's your take on this? What Alex just said?
Oh my goodness, I tell people all the time, especially the people that want some consultation, and I do it in short form because I just don't have the time to like baby you for weeks on end. Oh, this is where I'm at. No, they don't even say where I'm at. I need help. Okay, how? Like I don't want to take your money and be on the hook because I'm assuming that you know where you're at. You have some type of humility, and having humility is understanding that I'm over here and I want to get over there. But if you don't know where you're at and don't care to, take stock with your success, whatever it may be, where you're at, they just don't know. And it's like, oh, here's my money. I'm like, nah, I don't want it. I mean, I would like it, but I just can't do it. I really can't do it. And it's frustrating. And I can see the frustration in your face because I share that. I share that frustration at times. And it's becoming increasingly difficult because most people, they want the results, they want the outcome without the work. And it's as if like I'm going to solve all your problems. No, I am not. I can't solve all your problems. I'll give you the know-how, I'll give you the know-how. And if I can't do it, if I don't, I tell most of my clients, I told them this, all right, this is the pitch that got them in the door. I said, look, if I don't have it, you don't need it. Right. Essentially. And the people who say, you know what, at first you were a bit more forward, you were a bit more this, you're a bit more that, and I didn't know if I wanted to work with you, but now that I'm working with you, I see that, you know what, you don't waste time, you cut through the bullshit, and you get to where you got me to where I needed to go, or you got me to the next step, and I would like to work with you in the future. And that's the kind of relationships we would like to cultivate. The grand male, I'm excited to be a part of the grand male. We're all grand males. Mm-hmm. And that's what the grand male is bringing. You get what I'm saying? Just in different flavors, different touches or whatnot. You may vibe with Alex, you may vibe with Cam, who knows? But we're here and we get it. We need to, guys, we get it. We get it. So whomever you feel more comfortable with delving into your situation with, just reach out to us. But know where the hell you're at. Know what you need help with, please. It's guys.
Well said, Harold. And so I actually want to say really quick, Rich sent me a text. He said that he got a call from a client since he's in real estate. So he says, I'm going to try to get back on as soon as possible. Excuse me. So yes, Matico, you're next, brother. Go ahead.
All right. Harold, you nailed it on to the point where you said people aren't willing to do the work. Listen, nothing ticks me off more than someone who doesn't want to actually do the work. Because here's one of the things, and to anybody who's listening to this, We've all heard this advice from either our parents, that one uncle who was a player in the past and now he's cuffed and ready to get divorced, or your best friend who was the greatest player in all of high school, and now you ask him how he's doing, and now he's shacked up with a girl that he's hating. Every single one of them will say, oh, well, the right one will come. Oh, they'll just come. Oh, just be yourself and all this type of stuff. Bro, sorry. Oh, they'll just come. No. If you want to get girls, you actually have to focus a little bit on getting the girls and actually put the work in to get the girls. Whether that be, improving your physical fitness if you're a fat slob, whether that's, actually going out there if you're a nervous wreck and actually starting to approach, just cold straight going into the cold water. Whether that is actually getting your money situated. You actually have to do this thing called working. You actually have to apply yourself in order to get results. I know it's like a shocker to a lot of people out in our day and age, but it's you actually have to focus on this and actually have something in mind of what you want to do, and you actually have to put in that effort to do so. Because too many guys out here think, oh, well, the right one will just come my way. A stork's gonna bring her along and just plop around my front porch. No, that's not how this crap works. You actually have to put in the work and actually focus on getting the girls. Instead of just, going out there and just, praying to church every day saying, well, I hope that good girl comes. Ha, 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 ha. Maybe she'll leave the nunnery for me. I don't know. It's amazing. Thank you, Harold, for bringing that out, because that needs to be said.
Yep.
I think it's human nature too. Like, we all would love the results without the work, right? I mean, it is human nature to try and find the path of least resistance. That worked really well for me in high school. If I just showed up to class, I didn't have to do any homework or really study. As long as I just showed up to class, paid attention, got an A, that was it, right? And then I got to college and I was in for a really rude awakening. That's not going to fly in college. You got to do the reading, you got to do the homework, you got to write the papers. And so, yeah, you learn, and the world will give you feedback for sure. Like, hey, this ain't cutting it. But I think for dating, especially, there's a different level of hardship you have to overcome, because it's not just the work aspect. Like going to the gym, like, yeah, you got to do the work, but you're not dealing with like existential like fears of like, oh my God, am I good enough? Like, so I'm curious, I'll put it back on Alex and Cam for this one. When you have to add in that level of fear that you have to overcome these insecurities that can be absolutely crippling. And even me, someone who's been in the field weekend after weekend for years now, I still, will get tripped up by anxiety sometimes. It's definitely, I think a lot of guys are willing to put in the work, but a lot of guys aren't willing to overcome their fears. And I just wonder what your guys' take on that was.
Alex, go ahead first, man.
Yeah, I'm currently like
okay,
seasonally crazy.
Okay,
but,
so are you good?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Okay. So the question is like, how do you handle that? Like, I still get approach anxiety. It doesn't go away.
Correct.
It's like a practice skill. And like Matico, I'm sure when you're going to hit a new PR, you get anxiety right beforehand, right?
Oh, all the time, because it feels like I'm going to die right before.
Yeah. But it just, you can do it. It just comes down to, are you going to or not?
Exactly. You just have to have that, say and energy and just say, screw it. We're going to defeat this crap and just go for it. That's all it really is.
Yep. Exactly. You know what's really funny? So my response to that question is that the answer, the solution is what I've been saying on my Instagram stories so recently, which is you need to be centered with yourself. It's that simple. Because here's the thing. You still will, like Alex said, have approach anxiety. You'll have this issue. You'll have that issue along the way. But, when I have moments of my old insecurities coming back, I'm just so powerful, like up here, that I'm never concerned about any insecurity. I'm not even concerned about life. Let me tell you something. Before this intense coaching that we all got, right? I was concerned about what the future would look like for me. I thought to myself, what if I one day, date a woman who doesn't really like me and she divorces me? I was concerned also I'll get out of shape when I was mid-age, because I saw middle-aged people out of shape. So I'm like, I would ask my dad, I'm like, hey, Dad, will I also look like this if I'm in my 40s? My dad's like, no, you just keep exercising, you'll be fine. And I was like, okay, but like, I was genuinely scared about that. I was just scared about what the future would look like. I was also scared of, and I was so misguided about dating. I remember it was just about, she's pretty, good enough. And she's loyal, she's worthy enough to be my woman, then to be my wife, and I'll have children. I probably would have been married by now. I'm sure if I didn't go through any of this, like, well, I don't know about now, but like maybe like a few years from now, I probably would have gotten married and dated a woman who's clearly not compatible for me, and I would just not be able to see it. Now, because I got coaching and because I've worked on myself and I've done the work, and every man on this panel does the work. When, like I said in my video, when you're first born, you're like this because there's no trauma, there's no ups and downs, there's no highs and lows, there's no strengths and weaknesses. It's just you're born. And when you're born, you're literally at the most centered you've ever been as a child, as a baby. Then as you grow older, mommy tells you don't do this, dad tells you, hey, go do this, but then like you have a bad reaction to it. So all of a sudden you're all over the place, right? And then with trauma, all over the place again. Then once you hit the point of being centered, with working on your inner game mindset, complementing that with working with your dating skills, right? Because for me, game is life. Game is not just dating. Game is everything. Chris, he has game. When he goes to the gym, he's lifting those weights and he's doing it with, it's smooth. And the advice that he gives is congruent to his personality, to the way he speaks and everything. He's got game at the gym. I see Harold doing work at the gym with the jump ropes and lifting heavy ass weights. He's got game at the gym too. We all have game in some area of our life. Damien is the master with learning about the politics, the government, everything that's going on in DC, money, cryptocurrency news, all that. He's got game in that. So then when you work on all these things and complement every asset that you have and you destroy every single insecurity, boom, get out of here. You get out of here. You get out of here. And you nearly annihilate. You cannot, like, I think 100% annihilate it, but you can nearly annihilate it, where it's like 99% gone. Maybe 80% if you're not fully there yet. You get, like, let's say major anxiety still. That's like to Brad's point, not like, I don't know, major anxiety, but you still get that improved anxiety, right? And then once you're centered with yourself, dude, from that point forward, like anything to like Brad's question, you won't feel like you're lost. I know in life I'm set. Female-wise, money-wise, and mindset-wise, health and everything, just my mindset, because everything revolves around me. The world is about me. And I bring value back to the world because I put so much attention on myself. It's not coming from a place of weakness. It's coming from a place of strength because I practice honesty, authenticity, everything that a good character, good traits that human beings should encompass. So anyone else can respond to that, or Brad?
Yeah. Well,
or anyone
cool. I kind of wanted to jump on the Brad in the comments, his question.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to his question.
You know, it depends on the situation, bro, because I don't know kind of where you are at in your game journey. But I mean, I would basically say when you want to. I mean, that's for the most part. The only caveat I would say is if you want to date exclusive based out of like fear or anything like that, then it's probably the wrong time. But if it's for any other reason, like if it's just what you genuinely want, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, if you feel like, no, I want to keep learning game, I want to get better than my current options. I mean, if you're not happy with your current options, definitely don't get exclusive with one of them. You know, and I've been married, so I can speak to it. Like, there's no point in, you know, latching on to someone that, you know, is subpar or doesn't, you know, work well with you. As a man, you have nothing but time. Your status only goes up provided you're putting in the work, you know, maintaining your health, your wealth, and learning game. So, whoops, accidentally muted myself there. I would just say, you know, think of, you know, just spend some time with yourself, get in touch with what you really want out of life. You know, monogamy is not always the end game for everyone. It isn't for me really right now. I'm very on the fence about if I'll ever get married again or not. Maybe I will, you know, if I find a girl that I genuinely want to do that with. So I'd say if you find a girl you genuinely want to be with, then go for it. But if you're if you think you can do better than your current options, keep learning game.
I want to jump in on this. You need
Harold.
Yes.
Harold. Okay, so make it quick because I want Damien to go. Damien was going to go right now and give his opinion afterwards. So let me just get to you real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead and answer the question, man. Don't worry, you're all good.
Again, I mentioned this earlier in the consultation with Rich. You are not where you want to be. You are not complete. You haven't reached your final chapter of your ultimate self-development. So you deciding to date exclusively and you lacking game, it's just going to be a train wreck. It's going to be a train wreck. So you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you got into a relationship out of a fear of, oh, well, I might as well just, get with one right now, while I have it or whatnot. No. The world is your oyster. That's the way you need to be seeing it. You need to master yourself. You are your own mental point of origin. And
Facts.
Person does not, and I'm not sure the way it was phrased, perhaps you're looking towards that the relationship to fill in the void or something. If that's the case, you need to get away from that. That is not, no, we don't do that over here. Absolutely not. And that's my point.
Thank you, Harold. Appreciate it, man. And let's go to Damien next. Damien, do you want to speak on this, or do you want to speak, on the question, or do you want to speak on earlier what we were talking about?
I kind of want to touch both points because something kind of popped in my head while everyone was talking about dating and getting to the next step. And it kind of made me think about the relationship between whether or not you're an employee or you're an employer. And dating is kind of like that job interview process. We always joke that, a guy's like, I'm taking girlfriend applications, or a girl will say, I'm taking boyfriend applications, is like a joke. But as far as in real life, the closest thing to going on a date where you're not sure how things are going to go is going into an interview where you don't really know if you have the job. And so the person who really is deciding whether or not to go exclusive is kind of like the employer trying to decide to hire an employee versus the person who's doing the interview deciding whether or not they're going to get the job. And so to kind of tie both things together, it really depends on how long they've been dating before they became exclusive. Is this a few months? Is this a year? How often do they see each other? How old are they? How old are both of them? And so those are really the three main questions I would find out, is if they see each other regularly, they've been dating for a long time, and you've seen some ups and downs in how they react to you in certain situations, and you still see them as a good person, and obviously you're still attracted to them and you still feel the same chemistry that you did at the beginning and the same level of efforts, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're at a point where you're doing it like everybody else said, you're doing it because you're settling, then that's kind of like the person who takes the job because they need to pay the rent, but they're still looking for another job. You really need to think about why you're going exclusive. And so the why is just as important as the yes or the no. And so I add three more questions to that because you should always ask yourself those three questions when you're making that decision. And so to come back, it's how long have you been seeing each other? How frequently? And how old are both of you? And is it really the right time for that?
Perfect. Thank you for that, Damon. All right. You go a little bit higher than this. Okay. Brad, thank you so much for that question. Very, very good question. So
they were talking to me. I was like, you're welcome, but I don't remember asking one.
So it's his alias name. He went on a different YouTube account and just wrote that question down for us. So thank you for that, Brad. Brad on the panel. All right. So when do you decide to date exclusive? All right. Let's go about it this way, Brad. This is from Grand Cam. Grand Cam recommends this. So you are going to want to, when you date a woman, you want to figure out, is she going to complement your life? You want to figure out, is she compatible with you? And you also want to figure out, does she respect you? And does she sexually respect you? Extremely important. Two different things. Respect, he takes care of me. Security, provisioning, takes me to the gym, drives my car for me whenever he picks me up, or whenever I'm going in our car, he drives my car, he leads, right? That is the respect factor. You take care of her, protect her, all that. Now you have sexual respect, where now we're diving into a different world. We're talking about a woman seeing you in a different light, where she feels like when she can come home after all the mundane things she has to deal with throughout the day, she knows that she's going to be sexually pleased by you. 99% of men are horrible at it. The guys on the panel, we're all aware of the information. Now, I don't know how good each person is, right? But I do know that these men on the panel, they all know what are the exact ways to please a woman in a way that she's never been pleased before. Because if you're going to go about it this way, Brad, remember, you want to figure out up here, what's her mindset like? And you want to figure out also, is she going to be part of your story when you are going to be in the process of pleasing her, right? And you're pleasing yourself as well. And throughout this night, the evening that you're spending with her, are you putting her on a story? Because here's the thing, storytelling is underrated in game. Storytelling, you could literally use different things to put your hand on her leg while you're explaining a story to her. But here's the thing, women are auditory. They're attracted, by just listening to things. While men are more visual. So we see a woman who has very thick body, we're thinking, wow. So
can you define for everybody what storytelling is?
Thank you for that, Alex. So storytelling is, now we're getting more into sexual respect. Now we're diving even deeper, Brad, to sexual respect. Storytelling would be like you going up to the woman and letting her know, like, hey, how are you doing tonight? And then you just start and you just have a conversation with her. And then at one point in the conversation, you find an opportunity to want to whisper in her ear. And when you whisper specifically in the left ear, that's where I guess it's the left brain, right brain thing. So when you tap into the left part, the left side of her face, in her ear, and you start talking about, let's just say she's asking, what's your favorite vacation? Where do you want to go? You can just create a story and say, well, come over here. Maybe she's not comfortable with you doing this just yet. So you just lean into her. And when you lean into her and you start talking, you're getting a very, very vulnerable side. Now, shout out to LDA, Lawrence D. Adams, who was on my stream earlier this morning. He was saying that there's a lot of nerves in the left ear. So when you're speaking super close and whispering in that ear, talking about what you did on vacation, and you tell her and you make her part of that story. Listen, Sophia, why don't you imagine something? Imagine we're in Italy right now. We're having that delicious dinner right by the ocean, right? You can see the water is blue. The wine, what's your favorite type of wine, by the way? And she whispers back at you, oh, I like white. Oh, white is good. I love that type of wine. I love Chardonnay. Do you like Chardonnay? I do. Perfect. So imagine we have a bottle of Chardonnay with some pasta, and it goes on and on and on. And then you could even make it where it becomes sexual too. Now, once you have figured out the way this woman thinks and how she's attracted to you, then you're going to want to see, after you guys have done the boom, boom, boom in the bedroom, right? I know Chris could probably think of a funnier one than the one that I came up with. Once you have figured that out, now it's about retention. And that's what our fellow guest, Rich, who's no longer on the panel right now, but his issue is retention. And it's also taking the girl from meeting the same guy that she's met throughout her life, the same boring average Joe dude who says the same pickup lines, whatever. Once you have separated yourself and you're centered with yourself, she's going to see something different in you. So when do you decide to date exclusive? Thank you for everybody for listening. The long answer, to give the takeaway on this, it's pretty much you got to figure out, is she trying to be on your team? Is she feminine? Does she cook for you? Does she clean for you? Does she do things that are typically like feminine traits from traditional feminine roles, right? And is she just feeling your vibe overall? Like, does she, when she comes over to your place, does she have a t-shirt and short shorts on that are both easy to pull out and take off? And underneath, it's not just her skin. It's a piece of lingerie with your favorite color. That is game. That is solid game. Not only are you creating game for her, you're putting her on game, you're coaching her, you're leading her, you're telling her what exactly you're looking for in your life, and does she fit into your program? That's how you know when you do date exclusive. It can be a year from now, it could be 2 years from now, whatever you feel comfortable. But remember, Coach EO on YouTube, you got everybody on the panel who's familiar with him, perfect. But if you're not familiar with Coach EO, he has this saying, a woman should be campaigning for the relationship, not you as a man. You're living your life, you're doing your thing, you're being your badass self, but you're also providing value in her life and teaching her, coaching her, all that kind of stuff, right? But she should be campaigning. So not that, like, you can have intentions of monogamy, take her to the movies, take her to a nice candlelight dinner. There's things you can do without actually being exclusive that you can do to make it really, really obvious. So the signs, I already explained it. I don't want to dive into it because I do want to give it to my panel members. And it is an internal thing. So here's the thing, man. If you're not like this as soon as possible, you're lessening your chance of finding a quality woman and building a quality woman, even more important, because you don't find just quality women exactly. You kind of build them. They have it in them, but they need guidance and they need leadership. That's where you as a man step in, Brad. Okay. So you continue learning game. And the one girl that is campaigning super hard, super hard to be in your life, you know she's down for you to be in a relationship with you. She doesn't just see you as a piece of meat. She doesn't see you as just a guy who's having fun with. She wants to be taking it to the next step with you. So that'll end my monologue. Thank you guys for listening patiently. I really appreciate that. So anybody want to comment on anything that we talking about, what I said, or what anyone else said?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I know I put it in the private chat, but I love that. Like, she should be campaigning for the relationship. Because I know that, my last girlfriend, I met her right after my marriage ended, like 3 months, like almost to the day after my marriage ended. And, like I was saying earlier, once I got out of my marriage, I just wanted to date. I just wanted to fuck. I just wanted to be a pickup artist, like do all this fun stuff. So I met this really, truly amazing girl, one of the first girls I met after I broke up with my ex-wife. And, we just had this amazing chemistry, this amazing relationship, but I was so not in a place that I wanted a relationship at all. I was like, no, I got to keep you at bay because I'm still going out. I want to hook up with other girls and all this. But I could tell after a few months, she was really like, come on, I really, really want you to be like in a relationship with me. And, I just, I felt that campaign. So I know what you're talking about. And then I had a girl earlier this year who was campaigning really hard. She campaigned so hard, actually, that when I told her no, she broke up with me. But she wanted it, and she was doing everything she could to get it. And that's a good place to be in. And for a lot of guys who maybe never even experienced that, even guys who maybe have slept with girls but haven't had that girl really campaign for him, it's such a great feeling, and she's turning on all the feminine tricks and all the feminine charms. Like, that's the kind of relationship you want to be in, so definitely don't try to lock a girl down. A girl's trying to lock you down.
Yep. There you go.
You're trying to get sex, and this day and age, sex is pretty much free. So you can get that. And it's like, why should I keep you? You're at this point, once sex is had, like, she's campaigning for you. Because you really have nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, and Brad, who just commented right now, thanks for the advice. I'm definitely not ready to be exclusive. I can already see a huge gain in my personal game over the last year. I don't want to settle. It's not listen, man, you should never settle on anything in life. Never. Here's the thing. Going in a relationship does not mean that you're settling. That's only a beta male who doesn't have anything better going for him, has no sense of identity. Well, let me say this, and then you can go next afterwards. So it's about being centered. It's not and having an identity and having a personal brand. So for me personally on this, just make sure that when you have a relationship, it's a woman that compliments you. That's not settling. That's a woman that you decided that, hey, she complements my life perfectly. She sexually respects me. She looks up to me. She likes when I'm around her all the time, and she does stuff for me. Perfect. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so I apologize. My computer's like dying, so I'm like sitting in the corner as it's charging. Impromptu stream problems.
Yep, exactly.
But essentially, like, you know, one thing I wanted to like hone in on with this whole thing, and what you were saying is that, you know, absolutely, like, you know, she's on your team or not. I do agree with that sentiment, but I think it does come across in a wrong way sometimes. It's not like it's my rules, like it's my way or the highway. It's that she fits into your life. And you'll find that when you are fully grounded in who you are as a person and what you care about and who, like, everything. I know that's like tough to say and like understand. It's very abstract. But when you're grounded as who you are as a person, those types of people will come into your life. And that's exactly what I'm dealing with right now in my relationship, is that the person that I'm with is so it's difficult. I don't even know how to like describe it. Some of you guys know on the side like how it is. And when you become that person, those types of people come into your life and then everything settles itself down.
Yep. Thank you for that. And I want to go to Matiko on this question. My boy Andre, who's in the chat right now. Let me get you on here, Chris. Okay. Any
One more
advice?
thing on Brad's comment, just wanted
Sure.
to say, because he mentioned that
Sure. One last thing. Go ahead.
he's seen a huge gain in his personal game over the last year. Just remember the compound effect, man. So like, it's going to be even more next year. Whatever that gain was last year, if you're still putting in the work and putting in the reps, doing what you need to do, it's going to be twice that next year. And it's going to be 4 times that the next year, then 8 times that the next year. So just keep at it.
Yep. You're going to have, your game is always going to be like rock solid. And it's going to keep growing. And remember, life is game, not just dating. Game is everything. All right, Chris, go ahead, man. Let's bring my boy Andre on here. His question: any advice you give to a 20-year-old male for personal growth?
So, as someone who is in his 20s as well, there's a lot of stuff you could do, but I'll give you around 3 to 4 points. First point is, do not procrastinate on anything. Procrastination is death. If you procrastinate, you can actually miss your opportunity. So whenever you're listening to this, when you have the opportunity to go to the gym, whenever you have the opportunity to go approach a girl, whenever an opportunity presents itself to make a little bit of money, because I don't know if you're in college. If you're in college, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can do, especially when it comes to making money and making game, that you can do. So that's the one thing. Do not procrastinate. Take every single opportunity that you can to self-better yourself. Second thing, if you're 20 years old, get your ass to the gym. That's one thing I'll say, because if you're young, you can at least start the process by working out. We have a guy a mentor of ours as well. His name is Myron Gaines, and he often says a lot of the times when it comes with guys, your first ever, taste of adversity and overcoming certain things comes from the gym. If you're a kid who's 20 years old and let's say, you ate a couple of Hot Pockets here and there and you were playing some WoW, I don't understand, bro. Dota 2 is a fun game. I understand. Mass Effect is a great game, bro. Like, I understand. I was there in your position. But listen, you get your ass to the gym. Instead of playing as those characters, work to look like those characters. You know what I mean? So it actually feels like you're going for something, that you have a goal in mind as well. Number 3, if you are in college, because I don't know if you are.
He is. He's in college.
All right, you're in college. Perfect. All right, so you're above 18, even better. Get a job as either like a busboy, a barback, or a bouncer. And there's a reason why I say these 3. These 3 will get you good money, and you actually get to see game in person. In addition, you get extra perks and social acuity. So that way, a lot of the girls will look at you and be like, oh my God, he's the cute bouncer. Oh my God, let's see. And all this type of stuff. Now you got clout with these girls. Now you can actually start sourcing the girls from your work. While at the same time, you actually have relatively cooler bosses that really don't, they don't really care because they probably do the same crap. So you actually are in a very good advantageous position to close on these girls more, which is something I missed out on. So don't, do what I did not do, essentially. Go for that, close on these girls, and who knows, when it comes to even going further, and if let's say one of these girls ends up being somewhat of a compliment, keep her around for a little bit. If she ends up proving more better, awesome. If not, well, listen, that's why you are constantly approaching and all this type of stuff, right? You're trying to build an abundance mindset. And then number 4, listen, a lot of guys your age, especially in high school, I understand you're 20, you probably saw a lot of high school sweethearts, right? Bro, don't try and get in these long-term relationships just because your buddies did. I'm actually going to cover this on Thursday night on my Instagram live at 9:45. We're going to talk about this, something similar to this. Don't think that getting into these, long-term cutesy, high school, college relationships where you finally marry that one chick is going to happen to you. It may not, but that's why you got to build abundance. So you're not simping over one girl all the freaking time, because that's what's going to kill you, and that's what killed me back in college. So that's some advice I would give to you as a young man myself who's been in your situation.
Thank you for that, Chris. Appreciate it.
I love the plug.
Yep. let's go to Damien next.
Just to build up what Chris said, the best thing you can do is build up experience, build up that time under tension, like we talk about when you lift. Like, there's a difference in doing something for the sake of doing it and doing it to get experience. And so, like Chris was saying, if you're going to date and then you're going to get into these relationships, do it for a certain period of time and understand, okay, what am I learning from this? And then move on. If you're not learning anything, then definitely move on faster. And so, because every relationship I've ever been in, I've learned a lot about the person, but I've also learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about how to handle certain situations. And so it really taught me on both ends of the spectrum what to do and what not to do going forward. And so a lot of the times, that's where I think people don't talk about relationships in that way. They just talk about, like, don't get into them, but they don't really talk about why. And they don't talk about the situations that you need to understand so that when you encounter an actual relationship that you actually want to be in, you are deciding it on your terms and not just because, okay, well, I'm old enough now to be in a relationship. I've dated enough girls. That's not the right process to go through.
Facts.
So it's like I was talking about earlier, if you go through your gym session and you go through your reps and you go through your exercises, but you're not really timing it right, it's not the same. And then kind of same thing goes with what I was talking about with my employee example before. If you have all this work experience, but it's with the wrong jobs, or if you have the right jobs, but you're not in them long enough, it's going to make you look like you have a lot of holes in your resume. Well, that's going to show up later in your life. And so it all fits together as long as you know where it fits together. And that's easier to say now afterwards than it is to say in the beginning. But you're just going to have to take our word for it.
Dude, that was perfect, man. Dropping gems. Well, for Brad, what would you say dating perspective-wise? Advice for him for his personal growth.
Don't get married at 23. I know a guy who did that. Yeah. So, I'm doomed to give you advice from just my own experience. I got married very young. That was obviously a mistake. But really at that time, I was still so under the influence of other things in my life, what my parents wanted for me. I was very religious at the time, so I had a lot of pressure on me to be a certain way from that. And I wasn't, I really had no idea what I wanted, so figure out what you want and make sure that it's what you really want, not what someone else wants for you. And one of the best ways to do that is to try lots of different things. So, make yourself into the best version of yourself. I mean, you're watching YouTube streams about how to be better already. So you have your head on straight because that's what you need to be doing. Like, learn. You're young. You have time. Also start investing, start saving, just make that a habit. If it's 10% of your income or whatever, just as your income grows, continue to save, continue to invest. That's one of the big things I wish I were doing at 20. instead of at like 29, 30 when I really started. God, if I would have started at 20, you guys.
Oh yeah, we all be set.
man.
We all be set.
Fuck. Could have gotten some of them Bitcoins when they were like $1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just remember, your greatest asset is that you have so much time. You know, just don't waste it. Like Madico said, don't procrastinate. Do not waste this time. I've wasted so much fucking time. If I could have that time
don't
back,
F it up.
yeah,
That's the biggest thing. One thing I want to share on this is that I know some of you guys know my personal story, but not everybody does. And I won't dive deep into it, but I chose a bad relationship and it ended up getting me arrested. And, you know, I had to deal with a lot of stuff for a while. And this was early 20s. And that was like 5 years probation, like dealing with all this stuff. Like it was a complete freaking mess. But you know what? Nothing bad happened. That sucks, but it's really not that bad. Now is the time that you can take to go ahead and make some mistakes. Just don't be an idiot, but you can make some mistakes and you can date the wrong girls. You can see what you like. You can see what you need to do. And then from there, you figure it all out. And that's just the point that I wanted to make on that, because it's like, God, like everyone's so scared to make a move. But if you don't make a move, then you're never going to make a move.
Well said, Alex. Very well said.
In your brain early while you're young, approach hot girls. Just go talk to them. Just say hello. Like make that a regular thing.
Yep.
It's harder to undo that when you haven't done that for 30 years. It's harder to undo it than when when you're young and your brain is still like not even fully developed.
Chris with the only gains. Yeah, baby.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thank you, Andre.
Here, baby. No sipping.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's this? What's this right here?
Hey,
Cam, where do you get that one? I want to get that one.
I thought only gains was Don Mazzetti, right?
I know that one. Where do you get yours?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
so
dude, wait, hold on. Chris, do you know that like I have a photo with Don Mazzetti?
Oh, sick.
We partied at school together. He came to visit.
You never told me that.
Awesome.
And here's a funny thing too. So Don Mazzetti was at Zoo Culture. I went up to him and I showed him Alex's picture of him. And I'm like, do you remember this night? And he's like, yeah, I do remember that night. I think it was like one of these like houses, like one of the fraternity houses. I was cracking up.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
So actually, this shirt was created by Alpha Villains. So I actually did a Alpha Villains AV who I had on my show. And there's actually, I actually have like a discount code, which AV created for me. You get like 10% off, I think. I think the passcode was like Grand Cam 10 or something like that. But if you go to or Cam 10 or something like that, I got to look it up and I'll actually like write it down on I'll write it down on my IG story. But I'm going to make a video soon to get these shirts out for AV. So Andre, my personal thing, let's go back to your question. All right. So what advice would you give to advice do you give to a 20-year-old? So, you know what, man, like I've been watching how's everyone's internet doing, by the way? Because I see Brad is like frozen right now. Is everyone okay?
We're fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Brad's
just poor. It's okay. He doesn't spend money on anything.
He spends everything on coaching and eating, pretty much. Just that's the only thing he does: coaching and eating and drinking, whatever.
I had to plug it in, but I'm good after that. So,
so I've known you since you were, I think, 18 years old, because I remember in high school when I went to our high school, you were in the senior class, and I was the guest speaker going into the classroom and explaining public speaking, explaining leadership, explaining all these different things, right? And you're the only student that came up to me in the 3 years of me doing it. The only student that came up to me, yeah, I was right. The only student that came up to me was you. And let me bring Brad back on the stream. There he is. Okay. So the thing that I want to compliment what everybody's saying. I don't want to speak up on it. I don't want to double down on what anyone else is saying, because I don't want to regurgitate the information. They're all solid information. The one thing I recommend for you, Andre, being in your 20s, experiment, right? Just like what everyone else is saying, what Alex is saying, date the wrong girls, make these like decisions where it may not be the right decision. You'll come out alive because if your heart's in the right place, you're going to be okay. Have the willingness to just keep talking to people. Chris, I got you on the next one. Or I got you on the next one, man. That way. What you're going to do is just constantly be seeking mentors that can help you in every area of your life. You know what I'm going to do if I have trouble with fitness? I hit up fitness people. I got Matico on the panel. Anything crypto related, anything money related, anything about government, all that kind of stuff, going to Damien. Brad is one of the best wingman to go out with when you're going to go out into the scene. He understands pickup language. He understands the body language or when to come in the right time or when he realizes he's like not welcome in the circle just yet, or maybe he needs to come at a different time, whatever it is. Brad has social acuity. So what you need to do is surround yourself with guys like us that have different areas. And Alex, let me not forget about Alex. Alex also is somebody who is very focused on dating and helping these men out, but he's also focused on inner game. Not as much as I like to focus on inner game because I'm always talking about inner game a lot. Alex is the dating guy. And what I realize, sometimes I hear his advice, and I may have a disagreement on certain things, but I think overall, Alex is really powerful in the things that he says, and he gets you on your feet, and he has clients that he's helping on a weekly basis, and he shares these stories with me too. So exploration, adventure, just go out there making different choices. And then once you hit 30, by then you probably have your life on track, or you know what you want to do. You may even get to the point of being super centered with yourself, maybe even before you're 30. So work on every insecurity, be adventurous, explore, make friends with the right people, build your self-worth, your self-value, so you're not dealing with it when you're 40 years old or 50 years old where you have like lack of like moral, no identity. You don't want to deal with that stuff. Get it done now. Why wait? Chris.
One thing I want to add to this. Thing I want to add to this is that we all have different ideologies. So one thing right there, when Cam said 30, I don't like that, but I don't like that because I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has different ways of handling it, and that's what you need to understand. You need to figure out the right person, and that's what Harold was saying earlier. Find out the right person that resonates with you and go with that. You can try all these different self-help coaches in all different spaces, all different spheres, whatever. Find what resonates with you, and then find who you actually are.
And Kim, yeah, you brought that up, which I think maybe one of the most important things. So I just really wanted to hammer it home. Mm-hmm. Surround yourself with friends who are on the same path, because who you surround yourself with is who you're going to become. So, look for other guys who are on a similar path, who really want to crush life, who really want to get better in everything. Just be careful who you spend your time around, because it matters a lot. It really does.
I was also, now because Cam brought this up, I want to add a fifth point to my original form. I'm going to add a fifth. And this is also where I'm going to put my little funny innuendo as well for you, Cam, so don't you worry. Listen, you're going to end up having a lot of friends that will say, oh, don't date her. She's the school, promiscuous one or whatever, thing like that. Don't ever listen to advice. Listen, if you end up pounding your chicken like schnitzel and she ends up making you one, that's a good sign, bro. Like, bro, props to you for that. You know what I mean? You pound her schnitzel, she be doing good. Yo, and she makes you one afterwards, bro, keep that girl. But here's the thing. Whenever you hear any of your friends say, oh, don't date her, she's a promiscuous one, oh, don't date her, she's a slut, anything like that, do not ever take that advice, because I used to be the guy to take that, John. Don't ever do it, because here's the thing. Majority of those guys that are saying that, they're beta males that are, causing little rumors, because listen, only beta males go like off in the corner because they're too focused on you. Even if they had more lays than you, quote unquote, they're still jealous of you because you have something that they don't. and they can see that, and they're trying to bring you down to their level and still be superior to you in some sort of way. So do not ever let any of your peers or so-called peers tell you, oh, don't date her, she's a slut, or anything like that. Pardon my language, YouTube. I'm just trying to speak facts here. But
you got it, brother.
Do not take that advice. Date every single girl, because you never know if that girl is actually really the school slut, or she could be the greatest compliment to your life. You don't know unless you do it, and you as a man need to make that decision yourself. Don't let anyone else do that let anyone else do that, John. That's all up on you, bro. So keep that going.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I want to leave it to Damien as the last word for the stream, and I'll close it out after. Go ahead, Damien.
I was going to say, thanks, Cam. I wanted to just touch on that last point about, more or less, you want to look at people's actions, not really what they say when it comes to, if you're feeling somebody out for a relationship, if you're feeling somebody out for dating, look at what they do after what they say. Because what they say is one thing, but what they do is really what's happening subconsciously. And so, and to finish off what Chris was saying is that unless there's some concrete example of what your friends are saying about somebody other than just how they think that person is, like if there's a concrete example of them doing something that you would not tolerate, you know, lying, cheating, stealing, something like directly reportable and tangible, then that's one thing. But just rumors are a different aspect completely. And so I just wanted to add that point on there. But other than that, I wanted to thank you for having me on the stream. It's a pleasure. So, I mean, my IG is The Beard Gains. And so that's kind of all I'm out there right now. Not really pushing anything. Just like coming on and giving my experience when it comes to different scenarios. So
beautiful. Damien, thank you so much for your input. As always, brother, you're always welcome to come on the show. And thank you for coming on the stream tonight, man.
Of course, man. Take care, guys.
All right, take care, Damien. Okay, so guys, we're going to start closing out the show. We really appreciate everybody in the chat that's been watching it. Thank you for who's on the replay. This is the first time I've ever passed the 2-hour mark ever in any stream. So I'm very proud of myself. I'm proud of everyone on the panel. So thank you, Andre, for your comment as well. And thank you for your question. Thank you for your participation, man. This is what makes life so beautiful, is when we got guys helping each other out to level up and get to the best stage of their life as soon as possible. Okay, so let's start doing our plugs. Go ahead, Brad. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram at 50 Shades of Brad. I'm just learning how to use social media, so bear with me, but it's fun. And yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, Cam, for bringing me on. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
Perfect. And thank you, Jonathan, for the comment. Chris, go ahead, brother.
All right, what's up, guys? Chris Matico here. FFF_Matico. That is my IG. Thursday nights at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are on live, IG Live for the Frame Game, where we talk about everything from fitness to mindset to, you know, the loveliness of life. So join us on this Thursday. We're going to be talking about why are the reason you're getting involved with things, and are they the right reason to do so? So hit that up. We're going to get that John going. Beautiful. Thank you, Chris. Alex, you're up, buddy.
Good Lord. I can't follow that one up. But essentially, so you can find me at the Hudsman on Instagram. I do a lot of shows over there. I bring a lot of people on, doing a lot of interviews, figuring things out, getting experts in the field. And it's absolutely fantastic. I fucking love it. And then outside of that, dating coach myself. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the people that I've helped recently, but whatever, that's besides the point. And we're going to continue to do a lot of stuff on here, which is going to be very exciting for everybody. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. All right, let's go to me to finish it off. All right, guys. So I started putting some comments right now. We have follow the Grand Mail. Okay. I'm going to put everybody's Instagrams on the description box as well. So for everybody who's on here, we'll make sure everyone gets followed. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for watching this. It's a pleasure. Doing the next step, again, the whole point of it is to make sure that we're always figuring out how we can level up. You can follow me on the Grand Mail, which is the podcast channel. Also, you can follow me with my personal Instagram channel or Instagram account, which is It's the Grand Cam. Guys, it was a pleasure. I appreciate everyone watching this video again. I want to just zoom out really quick so we can show the panel again. So, round of applause for everybody on here. It's a 2-hour stream, lots of input, lots of knowledge. Guys, we're all gonna reach for success. We're all getting. Thank you, Alex, as well. So we're all gonna reach for success. We're all gonna take it to the next level. It's game over here, guys. Everybody have a good night and take care.